What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. In today's episode, today's episode is going to be titled "Support is All I Need," because a lot of times people they have the assumption that I need advice or I need some sort of quote unquote help, or they just overall they're doing everything besides supporting my channels and supporting my work and supporting anything else that I'm working on. Like, at the end of the day, look, not to sound rude, but to be as blunt as I possibly can, all right? And not to sound cocky or arrogant or, like, I'm not trying to give people, like, that I have, like, this arrogant mindset that I don't need no help whatsoever and stuff. My thing is, like, I guess if I'm getting into something new, that's when I need help. But when I've been literally being a content creator of all different like kinds too, like I've been in content like past 11 years, like all of the like content and the different things that I've dipped my hands into, like if it's something that I'm new on, help me on that, give me advice on that. But when people are trying to give me advice on my sneaker channel, like, oh, you don't need the sneaker channel, you need to do like, like, or overall, like, not even some stuff like that, but just overall trying to tell me what type of content creator that I need to be. My thing is, at the end of the day, this is the content creator that I'm, not even that I'm settling for. I want to be a better content creator. I want to do more. See, here's the plan, right? Here's the plan. I don't want to waste no hours throughout the day. I honestly don't. Because, see, at the end of the day, to really just make my life sound dark, I really have nobody that I can go to or talk to or any of that other extra stuff. I know people probably after this episode airs, they're going to be like, oh, you can always talk to me. You can always come to me. At the end of the day, I don't know how long people will be there. There's people that I was talking with every single day, and it's like we barely even talk now. So at the end of the day, maybe it's just me overthinking, but I'm alone, all right? And that's one thing that I was like, I know I had struggled with to accept that. That was like the one thing that I struggled to accept last year, because I finally had seen it for my own two eyes. Like how alone that I was. When this pandemic started and when everything was going down, like I realized how alone that I was, like how isolated like I was. So it took me some time to accept that, but I did. Like, that was the one thing that I was thinking on, and that was a video that I was going to record, but I'm like, hey, you know what? I could just overall talk about this in the podcast episode, or just probably wait further down the road. I don't feel like it's something I need to discuss right now, but I'm discussing it in my podcast. I'm barely here than nowhere else than to just have it, like, bottled up in things. But at the end of the day, I just, I really don't have a whole lot of people. I feel like I don't have anybody. So the only thing that I can do for myself to take my mind off of that is to be a content creator. And the content creator that I am today isn't even the content creator that I'm aiming to be. I know people would think like having 30-something YouTube channels, streaming every single day, working on all these different like, types of content is a lot. That doesn't even feel like a lot to me. Like, my thing is like, I don't want to waste no hours throughout the day. I wasted hours today, yesterday, the day before. I've wasted hours pretty much ever since quarantine has started. I feel like that I've wasted more hours just sitting around not doing nothing than to actually be a content creator. Like, if I was the content creator that I'm aiming to be, which is just like a 24/7 content creator, I probably would have had way more videos out. I probably would have accomplished a lot of more, achievements or whatever you want to call them and stuff, like with YouTube, overall hitting milestones and reaching viewer counts and all of that stuff. I honestly feel like that I would be a much more better content creator than I am today. And a lot of people look at me like this is the top for me. Like, this is it. Like, this is the most that he's going to do. No, I'm not. I'm still going to create more channels. I'm still going to come out, with more content. And that was one thing that I started thinking about. Maybe I should start streaming twice a day. Maybe 3 times a day, 4 or 5 times a day. I don't know. That's the thing. I just don't know what my limit is. So my thing is like, I would say that right now, I'm at a point in time in my life where I'm at a limit where I'm like, dang, I can do all of this. I'm like, okay, well, if I made it this far, my thing was like, I was thinking, if somebody would have told me that it's possible for a YouTuber to have 30 something YouTube channels back then, I probably would have second guessed it a little bit. I probably would have thought a little bit on it because I'm like, I've never heard of that before, but all right, yeah, sure, I guess it's possible and things. Like, I just I hadn't really had like that mindset fully developed yet that anything is possible. But I do feel like within the time, like especially when working at that job in downtown Seattle, and how I was like I felt like I was slowly getting pulled out of YouTube, but then it was just befriending people and overall like realizing the bigger picture with being a content creator. I'm like, okay, I can't let this dream go. I can't let this go because I'm like, oh, I'm working at this job in Seattle. I'm like, if anything, I should use this job to motivate me to be a much more harder worker with YouTube. So I do feel like that's the one thing that I had to thank that job for, is that I do feel like that I'm a better content creator than I was back in like 2015, 2016, because I have more channels and I'm working on more different things. Like I'm actually, doing, well, not so, because I feel like back then I just wake up, record a bunch of videos, but it was like I hadn't really like planned out what I was going to do. I hadn't really planned out like, okay, I'm gonna stream, do this. I'm gonna do, cause I'm like, I knew of Twitch back then. I could have very well gotten to Twitch streaming back then, but I didn't. And at the time being, I had crap, not material, but like gear and stuff when it came to like streaming and recording and all of that stuff. But then that was another thing. It was like I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. So I was like kind of doing this stuff blindly back then, but now I'm like, oh, okay, I know what gear I need. I know what stuff I need to get into. I know what I'm capable of. I know what I can do. So at the end of the day, it's like at the end of the day, when I'm doing the Twitch streaming videos on YouTube, TikTok, or any other platforms that I'm on, when I'm doing stuff, and I know that I'm gaining a following out of it, I'm doing it for entertainment purposes. I'm not doing it for advice. I'm not doing it for help. Like, that's the one thing that I just never really understood when I had started taking YouTube serious in the first place. Like, and that's overall when I created my gaming channel. When I created my gaming channel and just seeing how people wanted, like, they're so quick to give you advice rather than to help your channel grow and see the potential in you. No, they want to sit there and argue with you about the videos that you're doing. My thing is like, look, there's people that I know that don't have the best of the best gear to stream off of, record videos off of. I know people out there that's like, their content isn't up there compared to like bigger content creators like than me, like bigger than whoever. It's like people ain't doing content that's leading them to 100 million subscribers like PewDiePie. I know people that's like that, but I see the potential in them. Rather than arguing with them, like for an example, because with the last episode, I just shout out my good friend Unit, and overall, like, she's a Twitch streamer, but she streams off of her PlayStation. Now, I streamed off of my PlayStation before, but I found it more easier to stream off of my laptop rather than streaming off of my PlayStation. Now, I could go into this whole thing telling her about, how you need to stream off of a computer and stuff because it's much more better. Why would I go through all of that, right? Why would I go through all of that? And at the end of the day, the only thing that she is looking for when you get, and she overall needs advice. That's the one thing that I told her. I'm like, hey, if you ever need my help with something, that's why I'm like, I'm neutral when I'm giving out my help. I don't just go right ahead or just go right away and just be like, hey, this is what I feel like I can help you with. You need to do this and this, and no, that's not how you approach people. You ain't gonna, my thing is like, if you see somebody working on a car, right, you ain't gonna walk up to them talking about, oh, your tire is flat. or your window is broken, or you know, you're saying all these different things and you don't even know the situation. Like at the end of the day, what they're working, my thing is like whatever they're working on under, if you notice that their tire is flat or their window is broken or the side of their car is all scratched up and the paint's all rusted or you know whatever, but they're working on their engine is more important than the paint or their flat tire or their broken window or whatever, you know. Their engine is their main priority. When they get to that wheel or that paint or broken window, whatever, they will get to it. But at the end of the day, a person, all that they look for is support. Okay? If you go out your way and say, hey, do you need some help? At the end of the day, and like putting that in like content creating terms, how to help a content creator. What is the one thing that you can do to help a content creator promote their content? That's it. Comparing that to like you see somebody on the side of the street working on their car, you're not going to go up to them talking about, oh, well, I noticed that your car, it's an older vehicle, so let me tell you what vehicles you do need. You need to get you, instead of driving a 67 Mustang, you need to get you a new 2021 Mustang. Do you think a person, like, do you think they have the money to go out and go buy them a 2021 Mustang? Or second, do you really think they want to get rid of the car that they're feeling comfortable with just so they can get the car that you're comfortable with? Like, that's the one thing where it's like when they come to me and they get on me about having so many channels. I just recently had it where somebody got on me for having so many channels. And my thing is like, look, if you're comfortable with having one channel, that's on you. If you're comfortable with having 2 channels, that's on you. 3, whatever number you feel comfortable with, that is on you. I feel comfortable. I don't even feel comfortable having 32 YouTube channels. I feel comfortable if I have more than that. And that's why I'm like still keep coming up with content. Like here's the thing. I do feel like that I do work a lot on being a content creator, but at the same time I don't. I know in some people's eyes, like, yeah, 30 some YouTube channels, getting 100 videos on them, all within a year. That's a lot, right? Like a lot of people would say that that's a lot, right? That's just a goal. That's like, honestly, that's like a little, like, in just compare to the big galaxy that I know, like, not even like beyond some weird stuff when I'm saying that, but just, you know, just my wordplay on what I'm saying and things, but just the big galaxy that I can add, you know, to just being a content creator. Where I'm at right now is a little speck on how much of the internet that I want to like fill in with just the amount of stuff that I'm doing. You know, like having thousands of videos on YouTube, that's nothing to me. You know, like at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, I will go all the way back to when I very first started and, you know, do it all over again. Because I'm like, that's not the goal. It's not the goal to have like, you know, just only a few thousand videos on the internet. The goal is to have like a few thousand videos on each of my channel. Like, my thing is like, I don't think people understand how serious I am with this. But if I need to, like, my thing is, like, that's honestly, I just, you know, really just need to build up more motivation and stuff at the end of the day. Work harder, of course. But that's something that I'm going to tell myself. I don't need other people to tell me that. I don't need other people to tell me that I need to work harder or do this or do that. That's something that I can tell myself. So that's why I'm like, I just don't understand why people are so quick to judge you or to feel like that they need to tell you something that you don't even really care for. Like, I don't care, bruh. Like, I don't. Like, people, they always, my thing is like so quick to argue. That's like the problem with the internet today, is that people are so quick to argue with you rather than to just be like, hey, like, I can tell you in a spot right now, so you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna support you. Like, that's the one thing that I display in each and every one of my videos, and very few people notice it. Notice it. So I'm like, shout out to those very few people. But everybody else that comes to my channel, they get on me because, oh, you leave that beginning part of your reaction videos in and don't edit it out. Or you don't have an intro. You don't have background music. You're chewing your gum. I really had somebody get on me for chewing gum in the video. What is this, high school? Like, I'm not allowed to chew gum in class? What are you talking about? They was all like, they left on this like whole long comment. I think it was the same person that tried to get on me about having multiple channels. And I think they just being salty or whatever. But Yeah, there's all like when you chew the video or when you chew on your gum in the middle of the video and you sound like a girl eating hot Cheetos. And my response to it is like, when you thought I cared. Like, I do not care. I'm honestly like, debating on whether I should go out tomorrow. Like, that's how much of a petty person that I am. I would really go up to a store tomorrow without getting anything else. I will get me freaking, what's that, Hubba Bubba, okay, because that was some bomb gum. Freaking, what was the last gum that I got? I think it was, that 5 gum. I just been wanting to try some gum for a while. I was like, it been a while since I had me some gum, so I was like, bought me some gum. Then realized that it was going to, make a person upset in the middle of me doing a video. I'm like, it's stuff like that where I'm like, I don't care. I really do not care. I don't at all. Like, people, that's the one thing. And then the one thing that I just don't understand is when people try to push out that mindset that you do care when you say that you don't care about something. Okay, so hear me out on this, all right? Hear me out. And actually hear me out. Don't just listen to this and be like, oh, no, I ain't gonna listen. No, hear me out on this. If you throw away a piece of paper, right? Let's say you just came back from the store and you have like the receipt for that pack of gum that you just bought. You gonna keep that receipt? I'm curious. Because me, I'm gonna throw that receipt away. I don't care for that receipt. But based off of the logic of some of the people that I've dealt with on the internet, I do care for that receipt because I say that I don't care for that receipt. How does that make any sense? I'm like, that's the type of stuff that confuses me. When people say things like that, I'm like, when I either block a person or when I'm deleting their comments and I'm telling people, look, I don't care for that stuff, so there's no reason to leave it underneath my videos, how does that show that I care? It confuses me when I deal with people on the internet because I'm like, hey, yo, at the end of the day, the only thing that a content creator looks for is support. So all of this extra stuff, I don't care for that. That don't mean nothing to me. Absolutely nothing. You want to tell me about chewing gum or my reaction videos or my gaming videos or my sneaker videos or my TikToks or whatever, my music, whatever it is, I don't care. I did this stuff because I wanted to do it. If I didn't want to do it, then at some point in time, I will either take it down or I just won't do it. But that's why I was like, the person that was getting on me about the whole creating or having a sneaker channel, they was like, their comment was just dumb and stupid. I'm like, I don't care what you're, it's like, at the end, they don't mean nothing to me. But they was all like, they said, do something that you love doing. It's like, you can look at my videos and clearly see that I love sneakers, bruh. Like, if that was the funny thing about it is like in that video where I was promoting, because that was the video I was promoting my sneaker channel. You can clearly see in that video, in the past like hundreds, probably 1,000, like over 1,000 videos I recently uploaded within the past year that I've because I know like at some point in time like I changed up my room, changed up where I was doing videos and stuff, and yeah, I'm like, my thing is like, I went and have like this whole shoe wall. For those that are brand spanking new to my podcast, right? Like, if this is like the first time you were like, cause I don't know where people overall come from when they're, like following me somewhere or something. So let's say if this is like your first time ever coming to my podcast, right? Or hearing one of my episodes. If you watch the videos on a good portion of my channel, you will see in the background a wall, okay, of sneakers. I got the Great Wall of sneakers in my room, all right? Jordans, Adidas, Pumas, Nike, Vans. What are some other shoes that I have? Yeah, that's about it. That's honestly about it. I can't really think of no other. I gotta sneeze. There we go. Okay, but anyways, I got that. You can see that. You can clearly see all the different amounts of shoes that I have. Yeezys, okay, freaking all of them. Okay, Adidas and Yeezys are all the same, but anyways, you can see that. So if I didn't love the sneaker channel that I created, because I have probably, I don't even know how many pairs of sneakers I have. I have been I sold like some of my sneakers to this like sneaker store, and what else? Then I remember I gave some away. But anyways, other than that, I have a crap ton of sneakers. And I love like watching videos on sneakers. I love reading stories about sneakers. I love everything sneaker related. So it only made sense that I created the sneaker channel, right? And that's the same with every other channel that I've created. I got like two different types of music channels. I got one where I'm producing music, and then I got one where I review and talk on like the different things that goes on within music. I love doing that. I love making music. I love, listening to music. Gaming videos. I've been playing video games probably since I was born. Like, I'm saying, like, it was like after a few months of just being born into the world and stuff, I'm 100% sure at some point in time, my parents was like, they was starting me off young. And I remember my early days, I was probably like 2-3 years old playing on the Nintendo 64. So I've been playing video games my whole life. I love video games. I might hate certain video games, but I love the idea of video games. I love the fact where you could just go into this virtual world and just be relaxed, chill. Then it's like that on top of listening to music. Oh my God, I'm in my own little zone right now. I love doing that. My podcast channel. I remember where I was like when I very first got into podcasting. Like I didn't, it was honestly because of a friend of mine. Shout out to Angela, because Angela, she was the one that got me into podcasting. But when she was telling me about that, I didn't really even know what to like really get into it. But I love the idea. I love the idea of having a podcast. So I created a podcast. Fast forward a little bit down the road, I created a channel for my podcast. I created a YouTube channel. So my thing is there is a reason for why I have all my channels. I didn't just create my channels for no reason. For some of them I did, but I ended up loving the reason on why I created that channel. So if I did create it for no reason, I ended up loving it, like not even in the long run. Like as soon as I seen the idea there. So that's why I'm like, I'm not hearing it at the end of the day when people want to leave off their, not even facts, their help, whatever you want to call it. It is your opinion about whatever I'm doing. So at the end of the day, I don't care about your opinion. They don't mean nothing to me. The only thing that I care for, the one thing that I would respond to, the one thing that I love seeing more than anything else is support. Like, honestly, if I can't get no support from you, just please unsubscribe from my channels. Don't come back. Don't talk to me. Don't say nothing to me. I don't want to hear it. Like, if I don't know how clear I got to be on that. I don't want to hear it. At the end of the day, I'm like, I don't care about your criticism. I don't care about none of that. The only thing that I care for that's going to help me out, okay, help me help make content or whatever, continue on the content creating dream. Like, regardless of whether I was getting no support or not, like, okay, my thing is like, I'm alone in real life. If I'm gonna be alone on the internet, oh well. Like, my thing is like, I've been going at this for like a lot longer than a lot of people on YouTube and stuff. I'm still a small YouTuber. You really think I'm gonna care if I barely have any support? I barely have any support now. So I'm saying, at the end of the day, this whole like, oh, I want to argue with you about how many channels you have or the videos that you do or who you are or what you... I don't care. I don't. Support my channels. That's all that I care for. That's the only thing that matters to me, is to see the support. But all that extra stuff, I'm like, I'm not with that. So, but anyways, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for hearing me out. Just wanted to rant on that real quick because it's just stupid and people want to argue with you about some of the dumbest things. But yeah, I will talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Make sure you subscribe and support one of my 32 YouTube channels. If you want to support all of them, then I will greatly, greatly appreciate that. But if you don't support none of them, then I'm like, all right, whatever, Make sure you follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitch at TMossBoss. Make sure you like my page on Facebook, TMossBoss fan page, at TMossBoss fan page. And yeah, meantime, I will talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. And probably at some point in time, because I know things are starting to open back up and be lifted, I will start doing like my SeatGeek promos and all that stuff to, you know, get y'all some discounts on some stuff. But yeah, other than that, though, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening, and peace.